India is one of those countries that month after month reports a considerable number of millionaires joining its ranks. Whether it's through the smooth running of their family businesses, their own ventures, or the export of eye-catching items from other parts of the world, but this is one of the nations that has grown the most in terms of people of means. So, when news broke that one of the world's richest men, a resident of India, had struck a deal with a certain transnational company specializing in high-end coffee shops, we couldn't resist. Mukesh Ambani is one of the few billionaires who has not suffered high-impact losses like others on the Forbes list, so we wanted to know what new project he was working on. Does it have to do with any of the other companies that are part of your conglomerate? Or is it a new acquisition that would mark your entry into another job sector? Well, the answer to those questions will come out in this video. Before we begin, however, we want to make it clear that this deal is no longer in the negotiation phase. In fact, both Ambani and some of his most trusted men have closed the deal, so you could say that they have moved on to the analysis and planning phase to develop the best plan of action. Want to know what this new source of income is all about? In a moment. First, you need to know who Mukesh Ambani is and how he has amassed his fortune.
And our Honorable Chairman, Shri Mukesh Dhirubhai Ambani.
Mukesh Ambani, India's billionaire entrepreneur, CEO, and major shareholder of Reliance Industries, owns one of the largest private sector companies in his country. Thanks to his efforts and those of a section of his family, the business has added multiple six-figure plus figures so far in the last few years. This is to be admired, as this company is not the sole property of the Ambani family. However, much of his descendants have managed to run it. But who exactly is Mukesh Ambani, and how did he become the successful businessman now in front of the camera? Well, to know the answer to that question, we have to go back to the years when Ambani was a young man full of dreams. The year was 1980, when Indira Gandhi's government decided to open up a new manufacturing sector in India. Polyester filament yarn entered the private business sector, and the then director of Reliance, Dhirubhai Ambani, decided to apply for a license to set up what would be his first PFY manufacturing plant. After several months of paperwork and bureaucracy, Mukesh's father obtained the so-called Raj license and pulled his eldest son out of studying at Stanford. For what purpose? He needed his help in running the business. Dhirubhai strongly believed that the business should be built from scratch with everyone's help. With that input, they would avoid relying too much on outsiders. Although Mukesh had to report his achievements to a managing director, after some time and with his father's health deteriorating, he took over the responsibility of Reliance Infocom Limited, now Reliance Communications Limited. He was 24 years old at the time. With a dash of spice and confidence, the Indian billionaire decided to opt for the British snack and coffee brand Pret A Manger. The decision is a clear strategy that the billionaire has decided to implement within the territory. And this is because, in the nation, people are often curious about some of the details of Western popular culture. This move has added the brand to his massive business empire, which already encompasses everything from energy and retail to telecommunications. A unit of the conglomerate Reliance Industries said it has entered into a, quote, long-term master franchise partnership with Pret A Manger. Its target? It is targeting the wealthiest people living in India. It doesn't matter if they are originally from the country, or if they are foreigners looking to do business in the territory. That's the target audience. In simple terms, the partnership has the potential to make India one of the biggest markets for Pret A Manger, challenging and perhaps surpassing Starbucks. That latter opened its first branch in the country in 2012, and thanks to Coca-Cola's Costa Coffee and Tim Hortons, a Canadian company, setting its sights on that market, Pret A Manger has its work cut out for it. Darshan Mehta, Chief Executive Officer of Reliance Brands, said in a statement that the partnership is based on the strong growth potential of Pret A Manger and the Indian food and beverage industry. The deal marks its first big bet on the pursuit of new dining experiences by more affluent Indians. Quote, "We are looking at the 3 to 4% of the Indian population, which fits perfectly into our business strategy," said Darshan Mehta in the same interview. Unlike Starbucks, what Reliance Brands is looking for with the Pret A Manger partnership is to enter the food market, rather than the beverage market. Mehta has asserted that the Indian market is large enough for both competing brands to grow. Pret A Manger, which translates from French as ready to eat, opened in London in 1986. The cafes have 550 outlets around the world, and among the countries listed, you can find them in the UK, US, France, Dubai, and Hong Kong. In September last year, the company announced plans to double the size of the business, with a 5-year plan from now. This includes entering 5 new markets. One of these is India, with an entry date set for the end of 2023. Darshan Mehta said Reliance Brands aims to make India one of the 3 largest markets for the brand by 2030. He also said it would open up the food chain across the country, starting with major cities and tourist hubs, he said. Similarly, Mehta added that Pret A Manger has strong brand recognition in the South Asian country. The first Pret A Manger shop, known for avocado chicken sandwiches and organic coffee, will open in Mumbai. From there, Mehta expects the overall food service market to grow significantly. Technopack Advisors estimates that the coffee chain market in India will be worth $550 million by 2025. This is coupled with a growth of 34% year on year, all thanks to rising disposable incomes in cities and small towns. For years, Indians have been known for being big tea drinkers. Lately, however, they are embracing Western-style coffee, which is now sold in cafes and restaurants. Pret A Manger CEO Pano Kristen said India's deal with Reliance is its most ambitious global franchise partnership to date. If Ambani is successful, Pret A Manger could represent direct competition for Starbucks. Simply tailor its food to local tastes and attract customers with shops that have eating spaces. By doing both, the chain could succeed without much trouble. Mehta reported that about 20% of Pret's offerings will be Indian-inspired. Quote, "Airports are a big part of the offerings, but Pret will also expand into city centers and shopping complexes." Despite its big bet, Reliance Industries is proceeding cautiously and has divided the project into phases, with some shops opening by the end of 2023 and others from 2024. And that's it for today's video. From what we have seen in today's news, Mukesh Ambani seems to have everything well calculated and managed within the Pret A Manger project. That, coupled with the fact that he continues to diversify despite the crisis that's currently starting to be felt around the world, leads us to believe that this could be the reason why his wealth continues to grow. Do you think that the fact that Reliance covers several employment sectors is an advantage? Or do you think that its diversification could be what, at some point, causes the conglomerate to collapse? Leave your thoughts on the topic below, and don't forget to add new suggestions for future videos. We thank you for your support, and stay tuned. Subscribe, and don't forget the thumbs up. See you next time.